Good evening, dear comrades. I warmly welcome everyone to this international webinar on experience sharing on the current Indian student struggle. Before we begin today's discussion, I would like to place these struggles within a broader context. Across South Asia and the world, we are witnessing different forms of people struggles emerging. From South Asia to the Middle East, ordinary people, especially young people and students, have been coming forward to question existing political and economic systems. When we look at these struggles, we see that they share common root causes. Economic crises like rising cost of living, unemployment, inequality, corruption, and the erosion of democratic rights. While each struggle has its own context, they are connected by the same reality. People rising against a system that places the burden of the crisis on ordinary community. In Sri Lanka, the 2022 Aragalaya emerged initially against the severe economic crisis by ordinary people. But as the struggle developed, it also raised deeper political questions about corruption, state power, and the existing political system. Similarly, today we are witnessing ongoing struggles in India and Pakistan. In India, student struggles around education, rights, and democratic spaces have created such strong pressure on authorities that even the education ministry faced immense pressure, reaching a situation where resignation was being considered. In Pakistan too, we are witnessing similar struggles against economic and political crises. But we have one problem. History shows that many struggles reach a point where a ruler resigns or a government changes, and then the movement begins to weaken. But the resignation of a ruler cannot be considered the end of the struggle. Changing rulers within the same capitalist state cannot fundamentally solve the problems faced by students, workers, and ordinary people. We understand and believe that the deeper issue is the capitalist system itself, a system based on exploitation and inequality. Therefore, it is our responsibility as students and activists to provide political leadership, develop an alternative ideology, and build an alternative path for society. A struggle should not stop when one ruler resigns or one government changes. We need a movement with leadership that works from the ground level, understands the struggles of ordinary people, and continues to organize towards a fundamental transformation of society. That is why South Asian student solidarity is important. Our struggles may happen in different countries, but they share common roots. Through sharing experiences, building collective understanding, and organizing together, we can transform individual struggles into a stronger movement for social change. Today's webinar is not only about experience sharing. Experience is important, but the bigger question is how do we transform these experiences into ground level action? How do we build stronger student movements and create an alternative future? For this discussion, we have invited those who have directly experienced these struggles. Our speakers from Delhi, India are student leaders who have been part of these struggles from the front lines and have lived experiences from the movement itself. We have 5 speakers today. Comrade Shreya Singh, representing All India Democratic Students Organization. Comrade Anjali from All India Students Association. Comrade Bittu Kumar, representing All India Student Federation. Then Comrade Sankar Subra Biswas, representing Progressive Student Union India. They will share the experiences, challenges, and lessons from the Indian student movement. Along with them, we have Comrade Vasanta Mudelige from Sri Lanka, who gave leadership in the 2022 Aragalaya struggle as the then convener of the Inter-University Students Federation of Sri Lanka, and who is currently a member of the People's Struggle Movement in Sri Lanka. He will share the Sri Lankan experience and lessons we can learn from it. So with that, comrades, let us begin today's discussion to strengthen our collective struggle and advance the fight for an alternative society. So at first, I warmly invite our first speaker, Comrade Shreya Singh, representing All India Democratic Students Organizations, to share their experience and reflection on the current struggle.
Thank you so much. At first, on behalf of All India Democratic Students Organization, Central Council, I extend my heartfelt greetings to RSU, who has taken this initiative and gathered around all the left and progressive organizations to share their shared experiences, collective experiences here. And along with that, I also extend my heartfelt greetings to all the organizations present here. When we talk of the movement, because from day one, we have been the part of this movement, and it is a very emotional part for me as well. So before I begin what I have to say, I would like to uh, read a quote from a student who was a part of this movement. So the student, he is preparing for civil services in Delhi, and it is a small excerpt from an anecdote that he shared. So he says that the journey was not easy. Some people were injured and some faced police lathis. Even after facing pain and difficulties, nobody lost hope. Nobody stepped back. Everyone stayed united and continued the struggle with courage and determination. Watching this gave me strength and taught me the real meaning of standing together for what is right. This experience changed the way I think. It taught me that real change is possible when people stand together with honesty, courage, and determination. It also taught me that every student has the power to raise their voice against injustice. The Jantar Mantar protest will always have a special place in my heart. It was not only a protest, it was a lesson about unity, courage, sacrifice, and hope. And this is how it goes on. So we received a lot of anecdotes from many students and youth, and they were very encouraging. And this is not just the voice of one student who participated, but this is almost the experience of everyone who participated in this movement. So this very small excerpt, it shows what kind of an impact this movement had created amongst the students, among the youths, the common people. And this movement, it has once again reiterated what all of us as left and progressive forces believe in, that no matter how dictatorial a government, a system is, the students, the very young students, youth, common people, when it comes to their rights, when it comes to uh, what they are demanding for, they would stand united with their heads high. And this fight uh, that they conducted, it was something to learn from. And they faced all sorts of brutality, and yet they stood together. So the very idea that the people, the common people, they would stand together for their rights, it has been once again reiterated through this movement. Uh, Especially, I come from Delhi, and I have been seeing movements in Delhi, movements after movements from 2012, be it the Nirbhaya movement, farmers movement, wrestlers movement, CANRC movement. And in all the movements, we have seen that there have been brutality, there has been all sorts of tactics that the administration could take to defame the movement, but it could not. When we look back at this movement also, it is very true that it started with the neat paper neat issue, and it started as a satire when the CJI passed a very lucid comment and said that the students and youth who are asking for employment are some cockroaches. So it started as a satire against BJP. And then our scientist and environmentalist, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, he sat on a hunger strike. And after that, we saw that it took a turning point when the police started uh, involving in different ways. When they forcefully removed Mr. Sonam Wangchuk from the protest site, the students, youth, they spontaneously started coming and they started reiterating that this is a space, this is a democratic space, we live in a democratic country, and we have the right to speak for ourselves, we have the right to speak for what is ours. So it was not just this Jantar Mantar protest. As left organizations, all of us, we have been seeing how our entire education system in India, it has collapsed badly. And the national education policy that was brought back in 2020, it was the last nail in the coffin. And after that, every proposal, when it is implemented, it is proved that how this policy is ruining our education system. And all of us, we have been building movement all over the country against this policy to save public education. And when the NEET paper leak issue came, uh, this initiative, this satire, it was a reflection of this ongoing movement that is there in the entire country. It was the reflection of the accumulated anger, the frustration that the students and youth have in their minds, in their hearts. Uh, and it is not just about the recent years. It is the accumulated anger of many, many, many years. And it was not just against BJP, it is against the system itself. When we look at the post-independence governments, we see that not a single government has implemented any pro-people policy. The education policy, when we look at it, the very process of privatization, centralization, when we look at it, we find that this system is the system has come to this point that there is no scientific education, no secular education, no democratic education, and there is no trace of democracy left. So, uh, at this crucial point, this movement came. It was a spontaneous movement of students, youth, and common people, and it did not remain within the boundaries of paper leak. So when the demand came that Dharmendra Pradhan must resign, it was not just because because of the paper leaks. We know that 22 people, 22 students, NEET aspirants, they committed suicide. It was an institutional murder of those students. So it was the anger, it was the frustration against this entire system itself. That's why we see that the posters, the slogans, the revolutionary songs, the progressive songs, it was all around the very uh, idea to save public education. And in the later period also, yes, it is true that it was a student-led movement, but it did not, the participation, the involvement was not just of the students and youth. Families used to come with their kids and they used to show how this movement is going on. And we as left organizations, we have been saying that the democratic movement, a democratic and secular movement, is the only way. This movement has once again shown that this is the only way. When we look at the society's condition, we see the cultural degradation, how it is happening. The students are becoming competitors of each other. Uh, uh, People are not even taking care of their own families. So in this situation, when all of us were feeling that this generation has become very insensitive, they don't care about anyone, or they are just within their phones and all. At this point, when this movement started, we see that a kid who doesn't even pick up their own glass of water would be picking up garbage at the movement site, at the protest site. The students only, the youth only, they would be draining the water when it would rain heavily. When we look at the condition of women, when we go out, we don't feel safe. But it became the responsibility of each and every protester there that any women should not feel unsafe at the protest site. uh, there were so many incidents that touched all of us. So when all of us when we see that generally the environment is of a different kind, there are talks about religion, caste, creed, and everything. But when this environment of movement started, it developed in a way that everything became the center of this movement became humanity. on the very demand of saving public education, everyone came together regardless of their religion, caste, creed, gender. Everything was uh, uh, everything has gone back, and the very idea of humanity, it came in the front. So this is how a democratic movement changes the very environment of the society itself. So what we have been saying, it has been shown again. Uh, Many of my friends, many of the students who participated in the protest. So on 20th, when the police brutality happened, it was a horrible condition. Thousands and lakhs of students, they were on roads, and police was lathi charging. They were bombing tear gas shells, and they were shooting the pellet guns and all. And at that point, everyone was trying to save each other. No one felt that I should be saved. Everyone felt that we should be saved. So this very spirit of teamwork, very spirit of discipline, that we could see in the movement. Even many of the students, I have a friend, I will just share an incident. I have a friend who texted me on the very next day, and he asked me if I'm safe, if we are safe or not. And then he has cleared a paper of police. And then he said that after seeing the brutality that police has done yesterday, I am not going to give my physical examination for police because I do not want to be like them. I want to be with what you people are doing. So this kind of impact it had created. So this unity, this very spirit, this courage, determination, this is something that compelled the government to speak up in the first place. Our respected Prime Minister, he barely speaks on anything. So a tweet from Modi ji and three videos, back to back three videos on Instagram, it was something that shows that this unity, it compelled the government to bow down, to kneel down. And in this situation, it is very evident that the students, the youth, the common people, this very generation, which is considered to be a very non-serious generation, has shown that they are ready to fight. They are ready to fight back with the police. We have seen, we all have seen the girl Ria from Mumbai who stopped the police van and saved some of his friends from getting detained. And there are hundreds of incidents like that. So we have seen that the students, youth, common people, they are ready to fight. In this situation, yes, it is a big, strong victory that the education minister had to resign. It was not easy for any of us, but being there at the protest ground, at the movement ground, unitedly, with courage and determination, it shows that this is the only way forward. And the government has to bow down because of this pressure only. And we all know that this is a victory. And history has also shown that a victory always calls for another stronger movement. So we all have experienced that this movement was something very crucial, and it came in a very unexpected way. But it is positive that the society is ready to fight back this system. And at this juncture, uh, what what we need is an organized movement. What we feel is that uh, uh, a spontaneous movement has to given a shape of a structure. It needs a direction. It needs an organized force to direct the movement. So in this situation, we feel that we need to this call of victory. We need to take this call of victory in the entire country. And already the movement is going on. Already, even after Jantar Mantar protest is uh, has been called off after the victory, but the movement is still going on. And in this situation, we need to build as much mass committees mass struggle committees, student struggle committees as possible, because this is the only way we can build an organized movement all over the country. And as the students are ready, this is as left and progressive forces, this is our responsibility. This is our collective responsibility to give it an organized shape to this ongoing movement to save public education. This movement, we have seen that it did not remain just in the boundaries of education. All sections of society, be it the unemployed, I mean, all sections of society had their demands and they were coming with their own demands, be it unemployment, uh, be it the price rise that we see, be it the atrocities against women and children, the farmers' issues, uh, the trade unions issues, the workers' issues. And we are also seeing that there are movements after movements all over our country. So at this juncture, uh, this is our collective responsibility as left and progressive forces to give this movement an organized shape, a structure through student struggle committees, through mass struggle committees, so that this movement can be strengthened. And from here, I think my time is up. But from here, we also pay our greetings to RSU, who had organized movement in their country. And this initiative is something that we really appreciate. And with this platform, we feel that uh, the movement that is already going on, we will be able to achieve all our demands. The very demand that the entire country is focusing on is resist NEP, safe public education, and we will be able to achieve the very idea of scientific, secular, democratic, and universal education. So. I believe that this initiative will help to consolidate and strengthen this ongoing movement in the entire country, not only in India, but as this is a beautiful initiative at international level also, we would be able to get together with these in this initiative, and we would be able to consolidate what is going on in the entire world actually, along with what is happening in Delhi. So with this, I stop here. Inqilab Zindabad, Students Unity Long Live.
Thank you, Comrade Shreya, for those valuable experiences and political insights. Before inviting our next speaker, a small reminder to all speakers to kindly keep within the allocated time. Once again, thank you, Comrade Shreya. Um, Now I would like to invite our next speaker, Comrade Anjali from All India Students Association, to continue the discussion by sharing their experiences from the movement. Comrade Anjali?
Yeah. I'm audible.
Yeah,
I'm
you can
visible and
proceed.
audible.
Yeah, you're visible and audible. You can proceed.
Yeah. So first of all, I extend my heartfelt greetings and red salute to all comrades on behalf of All India Students Association and to comrades who have joined from India also to different left organizations. And would want to start from basically how this movement also led to the massive reaction that we saw and the massive uprising that we saw is also the culmination of the last 12 years of anger and frustration that this BJP RSS regime has installed in in the nation. And to understand the current assault on Indian universities, we have to trace the structural roots, especially if we talk about the new education policy that today has been implemented in different parts of the Indian university in different campuses, even on school education. This is something that traces its uh, foundation to the Birla Ambani report that was brought in around 2000 and by the big industrialists of the country who were giving how an education model should run. And this is exactly the blueprint that this regime has operated. which pushed the education model of proper corporatization, privatization, neoliberal reforms in education. And that is precisely what has also led to a systemic rot that has been installed in education. Along with this, it is imperative that while talking about the forms of student movement that is taking shape across South Asia, especially in India, there has to be a very, first, I would say, the assessment and the understanding of the type of state that is operating here, which is a communal fascist project that is underway, that has been unleashed on this nation from neoliberal corporatization, handing over public universities, land, resources to the crony capitals like Adani and Ambani, while also trying to weaponize hate against a specific community. In this case, it is the Muslims of the country, and trying to bridge that hate into something very vicious. A very, very broad, structured project is going on. Along with this country, before the phenomena of the cockroaches, before this Dharmendra Pradhan resignation, and a very, very important historic movement for education reforms took place. Before this, the country saw, with the beginning of the year, a very huge uprising demanding the UGC equity regulations across the country, which was a guideline brought in to ensure more a better environment in higher education institutions in terms of social justice, where we saw the Vice Chancellor of JNU, Shanti Shri Dhulipudi Pandit, commenting something as disastrous as that, equating the victimhood of the systemic caste oppression faced by Dalits and Blacks and calling it made up victimhood. There was a huge protest in JNU and across the country against such comments and also demanding the UGC regulations. And how that protest was dealt, it was again dealt with brutal police suppression. People were even sent to Tihad, JNUSU office bearers, and the ex-JNUSU president who was rusticated at the time. They were fighting against the same comment and for equity and social justice in campuses. They were sent to prison. Along with this, we see how the police brutality, that has been something that drew a lot of attention also during the recent protest. This is something that is not new, that has been happening to Indian universities. The criminalization of dissent and a very militarized, surveilled campuses is something that we are bearing the brunt of from last more than 10 years. We have to remember the campus violence and police brutality that was unleashed on the students of Jamia Millia Islamia in 2020. And there was AVVP Goons, the student wing of the BJP RSS that currently operates in this nation, that is running the government, along with, again, the civil dress goons who went inside these campuses, beat people up in libraries, in their hostel rooms. In JNU also, there was a similar pattern. And this was similarly repeated here, this time at Jantar Mantar. Along with this, we see the same Birla Ambani report that has been taken as a blueprint for installing NEP and all other policies in education. There was a very, very staunch advocacy for disbanning students' union election. And that is precisely what this government has implemented across different parts of the country, from universities as Jamia Millia Islamia, Aligarh Muslim University, BHU, Lucknow University, different parts of this country, different private or state universities or public universities. There has been a total disband of students' union election. Along with this, we see the persecution of solidarities, whether it was the FTTI Pune marching in solidarity with Palestine. Students were literally put behind bars, FIRs charged on them, or be it the basic fee hike protest in Delhi University, different university. So this has been a process under which this regime has been operating. Along with that, how we saw that there was different paper leaks that have been happening in this nation for all these years. There was earlier the exams used to be conducted in a more autonomous way. Then in 2017, this government only brought the National Testing Agency, and it was registered under Societies Registration Act, which basically means this particular agency will not be answerable to the parliament. There will be not any annual audit, financial report, which basically protects them from any sort of accountability. And the NTA was given the tender to conduct most of the major national exams, be it the medical exam, engineering exam, central university entrance test. And since then, we have seen that in around last 10 years, more than 89 papers have been leaked since the movement started also. It started, there are anticipations as to how there was this cockroach comment that the CJI, Chief Justice of India, made regarding the students, the youngsters, and especially people who are RTI activists, people who seek to ask answers from the government. They were categorized as the cockroaches, parasites of the country. And this was something that people took to heart. And also, we know historically these are the words that has been used as derogatory slang by the ruling elites to dehumanize marginalized people, Dalit working class students, telling them that they're basically invisible pests, that they do not matter. And what happened with this particular comment was a wide range of the nation's youth resonated with it. They were like, yes, this is exactly what we have been treated like. This is exactly what we feel like. And along with this, the NEET paper leak happened. Then different paper, Maharashtra TET paper was leaked, Jaipur paramedical paper was leaked. And as the protest was ongoing, the 40-day, 45-day protest was ongoing, UGC net sociology saw discrepancy, English paper saw discrepancy. So the anger kept on accumulating and intensifying. The first call after this remark and the NEET paper leak was the call on 6th June. And from the very first day, ISA, understanding the importance of any sort of major outbursts that happen between the mass, and especially if the sentiment is anti the government, anti ruling regime, and it is culminating into something articulating reforms, asking for a fair education system, transparent system. So without any delay or any more speculation, we understood that it has to be something where we have to go. We have to be a part of this. And since then, there were different calls across the states where our leadership also went to different parts. And then there was a 20th June protest, which was initially started, thought of as a single day protest, but seeing the level of people who joined there, seeing their energy and understanding and grasping on it, that this is something that can be made into something large. Indefinite strike call was given. Then Sonam Wangchuk decided to sit on a hunger strike, and along with them, 6 ISA activists. ISA's All India President Neha, along with Manish, Deepak, Rishikesh, Amin, Danish, they all also, 6 of them, sat on hunger strike. And 3 of them continued the hunger strike for 23 days. And this actually, it is not something that was done deliberately to try to shake the consciousness of the ruling regime, but rather to appeal to the mass that has been brainwashed through the capture of different machineries in this country, be it the mainstream media, be it the educational institutions, the judiciary, everything in this country has been operating by the likes of BJP and RSS. And this is precisely why it felt imperative that in a students' movement, student-led movement, hunger strike has to be also a way that we had to explore to at least appeal to the consciousness of the mass, not the ruling regime. And then the protest went on, and there was a 20th July call given to march to the parliament. And it was a call that was again widely spread to different states. People went to give the call to try to mobilize, and a lot of students, lakhs of students participated in it. And what happened in that call? It was a very tactical, strategic form that was taken by this government. There was barricading almost on every 300, 400 meters. Students were first led to march. Once they reached a certain point, there was heavy barricading, police personnel deployed, RAF personnel deployed, and along with them, the goons in civil uniform, police personnel not having their badges or any form of, how you would be able to associate them if this is the real police. Or even if they're not the real police, we know the modus operandi under which Delhi police operates. Students were cramped up, 7,000 students cramped up in a specific space, in a 300, 400-meter space. And then they would lathi charge them. Then they would use tear gas. And this is what happened. A lot of students, hundreds and thousands of students were severely injured in the hospitals that are in Delhi. Here only, our delegation team went in RML hospital, at least 300 people, Safdarjung hospital, 50 people, in different hospital, 300, 400 people, and police were deployed there as well to make sure that these people do not get treatment, or if they get treatment, they might try to file a FIR, zero FIR, or try to get medical legal certificate, which precisely means that the injury that has been caused to us is something that has been inflicted to us through some other party, which means police in this case. So to dodge accountability, police personnel, different forms may there were different people deployed at these hospitals to disperse people. They were given basic first aid and they were not even allowed to admit in the hospital, and they were dispersed off to again save the face of the government, to save them from accountability. And from there were different calls across the country in solidarity against the police brutality that happened in Delhi. uh, First time historically, a lot of people are saying that here pellet guns were used, rubber guns were used, and students were brutally injured. 4 to 5 people who got injured, we met them personally. There are injuries all across their arms, their chest. 3 of them were on the verge of, one has lost their eyesight. Operation has to be undergo, otherwise they lose their eyesight for the rest of their life. 2 others were also on the verge of losing their eyesight for the rest of their lives. A woman named Nutan, who was also present at the protest. She was shot by the rubber gun around her ear and she had to go a surgery. 3 to 4 stitches are there on her ear. Police obviously denied everything. And against this brutality, there were different calls across the country in different parts. In Bihar specifically, there was a Raj Bhavan call where a lot of people joined in because they were very angry as to how dare you beat up our friends who were protesting for bare minimum. And on that protest also, there was heavy police deployed, lathi charge, water cannon was along. The protest is rising, rising. People are bringing in, a lot of people are coming in. Solidarity from different opposition parties of the country is also coming in, joining this protest, giving solidarity statement, coming to the protest side and extending their solidarity. And around this time only the pressure started building up. And when the resignation happened, it was also because of the same pressure that a movement that started on 6th June from Jantar Mantar went to different parts of the country and mobilized thousands and lakhs of the youth. And it was not just one thing, be it the cockroach comment or just the neat paper leak. It was the accumulated anger of the last 12 years. And the resignation happened, which is a very historic moment for a country like ours, where the precedent has been established by this ruling regime that no accountability will be taken. And since then, since their resignation day, there has been a witch hunt of student activists across the country. In Assam, students are arrested. In Bengal, students are arrested. In Bihar, 400 students were arrested. Now, at least 30 of them are still under prison. And charges as gruesome as attempt to murder were put on them. There was a deliberate witch hunt of Muslim student activists, Dalit student activists, or even common students who come from marginalized communities joined this protest. And since then, also saying it as we understand, this movement did culminate into something as historic as Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, but it has to be carried forward in a way where non-negotiably all FIRs have to be withdrawn. Every person anywhere in this country has to be let out of jail, and that is also ongoing, along with a few states where we have been able to get our comrades and other students out of jail. And while understanding all this, I think it's also important to add that how such a victory is very critical and crucial for the whole South Asian context, as to also take inspiration from each other's fight. We saw how there were different student uprisings only, be it in Nepal or Bangladesh. But while these uprisings demonstrated the unstoppable power of student mobilization, there's also something very vital that we have to also keep in consideration, that in both these places, because of a vacuum in organized radical left leadership, or also because how this turned up to give rise to more co-opted by the right-wing fundamentalist, pro-imperialist networks, conservative elites. So the takeaway has to be mass anger against the BJP RSS regime cannot be diluted into any sort of liberal electoral resurfacing, or the objective of the left student movement has to also see replacement of a minister was important to give this hope to win something and to take this movement further, but has to also end at the complete dismantle of the BJP RSS corporate fascist apparatus, the whole state apparatus that has been operating in this country. So I think I would just end on this only, that the historic significance that this recent victory has given us, and the movement across this South Asian, the hope that it has given to different people, it has to taken in a way that how do we also strengthen our solidarities across different parts of South Asia and culminate into a broader anti-fascist solidarity, anti-fascist mass movements, and take it forward from here.
Oh, sorry for that. Thank you, Comrade Anjali, for your important contributions and reflections. Now, I would like to invite our next speaker, Comrade Bittu Kumar, representing All India Student Federation, to share their experiences and insights. Comrade.
I think I'm audible. Community initially to all, and this is very good initiative by all our Congress who invited for this meeting. Actually, it is important for us to organize these kind of meetings to share our experiences which we are facing in different parts of world. Like so, I would like to start from the initial days when CGI, Chief Justice of India, uh, remarked on youth. Like he said that youth, unemployed youth of India is cockroaches and parasites for the system. Like these kind of remarks he made. It reflects deep rooted system of judiciary and government and India. Like uh, he repeated remarks from uh, government side about this and whoever do uh, frustrating environment we are facing in India. So I would like to say that this movement has given a hope for all the progressive people who is facing this terror environment in India, which is created by the RSS and BJP from last 12 years. However, they are working from 100 years, 1925, when they came into existence, like Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, which today captured most of the constitutional institution like judiciary, universities, and all. These all thing creates kind of environment where from every side you will get terrorized by the saffron gang kind of thing. And like I would come to CJP movement. This is like after a long time we get hope, uh, which appeared through the social media campaign like Cockroach Janata Party. created by Abhijit Dipke. So people joined, and social media gets kind of boom at 1 day, 2 days. Millions of followers came, and I started asking questions about education and paper leak. Uh, I started from CGI, but shifted to Dharmendra Pradhan, that education minister, because of the suicide happened after paper leak. Approx 22 plus students killed themselves because of paper leak. And this happened year by year, like from 2024, 2025, and 2026, continuously 3 years, NEET paper got leaked. And this is all the because of National Testing Agency, which is centralized body who takes exam, like centralized exam after NEP 2020, introduction of NEP 2020. This is root National Education Policy 2020 of these all problems which we are facing today, like CUET Central Universities entrance test. These all exam conducted by the central government NTA, and all states authority got curved to the central government. However, this education is in concurrent list of Indian Constitution. It means like a state and center will decide that how exam will be conducted, and other education related things. Everything will be decided by both state and center. But after NEP, New Education Policy 2020, it shifted to central government, most of the power and financial and all things. So this is the reason behind paper leak and uh, student suicide. Now come to the Dipke's role, Cockroach Janata Party. They created a social media movement and they came to India. That is very brave step by Abhijit Dipke, and started a protest in Delhi on 6th June. All progressive students organization, like left student organization, joined them. But I am not happy that we joined them, but we not led that protest. We did not started that protest, and we were not like in role to direct all the decisions which was taken at the protest, because that was kind of liberal protest, but left was trying to direct that protest. But I think we were failed as a left organization, because there is some reason behind that. We were not organized, all left organizations, and we did not felt the environment and material condition of our country. We like Actually we did a very great thing, but I think this is very little in front of challenge we are seeing in India. We are facing struggles in universities, campuses, and on roads. If you are working, you will face this saffron gang and RSS goons if you are progressive people. So I'm a little bit upset about our own role in this protest. However, this was very beneficial for left organizations and left politics, because we were only student organizations who sustained that protest. Yes, we continued and we helped CJP to do protest against BJP regime, and this is a historic step that Dharmendra Pradhan resigned. BJP actually his agenda, like, they often states that our ministers don't resign, we don't give resign or take accountability. But this time they come and taken responsibility, and because of people's movement. And so, but I want to tell this thing that our demand was not exact to only resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan, but left organization's demand was revocation of NEP 2020 completely, which is cause of these all problems, and scrap NTA, which is a body which taking exam of all central exam, like CUET and NEET, revoke VVSA bill and abolish NEET completely, which was demanded from like Tamil Nadu state, which has stated this demand many times. but our demand not got met. But Dharmendra Pradhan resignation is achievement for us. But what happened after that? One another RSS member came into power. Like they took education ministry, and we should also focus on these people's frustration. Like Dharmendra Pradhan remarks on students, they said like these all cockroaches are Dehsatgard. Dehsatgard means terrorist, team B of terrorist. Then after BJP chief, like president of BJP, who is in ruling government, said that our cadre, our member will take look these all the youths who is protesting against us, and these all like threatening environment they created, and more kind of propaganda they spreaded by mainstream media. They were like this is Chinese funded, Pakistan funded, and all these allegations they made against us. And also we were facing a struggle like right wingers always tried to disrupt the protest, but we should be thankful to our all comrades who bravely fought against them. So uh, this all like our experience was great as a democratic people, as a liberal people, but as a leftist, I don't think we got success. We would have to fight, we would have to organize on ground, we would have to lead next movement by own. And if this environment comes in next 5 or 10 years, I think this will come again. So that's all about all from my side, and some points I want to add, like uh, police is targeting and government is targeting Muslims, specifically in India. That is very, very problematic for us, that they are dividing people by communal and religious identity, and basically they whoever volunteered there in protest and belongs to Muslim community, they are being targeted. That is very sad for us, and we all left and progressive people would have to fight with them. Let's salute to all. Thank you, comrades.
Thank you, Comrade Bittu Kumar, for your contributions and valuable insights. Next, I would like to invite our next speaker, Comrade Sankar Subra Bishwas, representing Progressive Student Union, India.
Hello, comrade. Before I start, I just would love to know whether I'm audible or not. If someone can just confirm.
Yeah, you're audible. You can
Oh,
proceed.
great. Thank you. Thanks everyone for giving me the opportunity. And it is not only in India. We are seeing that millions of students are coming down to the streets, whether it's in Lahore, whether it's in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. We are seeing the millions of people are coming down to the streets. And I would like to great red salute and the revolutionary red salute to everyone who are coming down to the street to fight against this regime and the regime that we are seeing in the South Asia for last 10-12 years. As we have already spoken about the spectacle that has been there for this long 2 months of movement in the CJP movement, I would like to focus into a slightly different part about the class character of the movement and how we can move forward, because I second every point that has been made by all of our comrades, and how this great movement achieved something which is exceptionally great within a very short period of time. Before I start, I would like to start with a question that why this movement has happened. Was it just a paper leak? If we start thinking from that perspective, the answer would be very no. It was not just an outcome. It was a catalyst, but this is definitely not the outcome. Because in last few years, what we have seen, what this movement has changed is that we have seen that huge number of unemployment, right? As per the recent reports, what we have seen that 54% of the higher educated people are getting into informal sector, not even in the IT sector or the cream job that we call in India. They're not getting into that. The 54% are getting into the very precariat works, like they are delivering foods, they are going for like some of the precariat works, working for very short time periods, some gig work stations. And also, if we look at the graduates now accounts for nearly two-thirds, which is 67% of the unemployed young people. And if we look at the number of graduates who are in the age between 25 to 29, 20% of the people are unemployed, which shows that people are not getting job. However, if we only think this CJB movement as a social movement, we would be wrong. It's a class movement. We need to understand this from a very class perspective. As a Marxist, as a left student activist, we need to understand from a class perspective how this movement changed the dynamics of the class movement that we have imagined because of all the spectacles that we have seen in the movement. That's a great movement that happened in India or in the South Asia as well. Previously, we used to think that the class movement would come in a package where people coming from impecunious background with a highly malnourished figure with a waving flag will come down to the streets and fighting their nail and death for their rights. But this movement, we have seen the people with coming from well-to-do background getting down to the streets who are being criticized for more than a decade for being extremely self-centered, where they were stereotyped as a generation with no moral value, the generation who could not even fight, the generation who could not even think of struggle. This has changed, and right now in this movement we have seen people coming from different sections of the society coming down to the streets. Not only those people who are coming from the very impecunious background, but however people are coming from the well-to-do background with iPhones in their hand, branded t-shirts and jeans, and coming down to the street and talking and protesting against the Modi and the Modi regime. And why did this happen? So in last 12 13 years in the neoliberalism, the growth of neoliberalism is been is in a halt, and people no more buys the fact that neoliberalism can help people to come out from this poverty anymore. Because if we look at, so in the right now in the given condition, if we look at the people who are higher educated going into the casual work, the salary is 9,214 per month. Whether self-employed, it is 17,000, and the higher education is 29,000. So even the condition is been very bad right now, and where in this given condition it has become very problematic for the current generation, the generation we are in. We have seen the generation before us who are getting into this engineering, law and other part of the education, where people are getting job, at least in the boom of India between 2000 to 2013, 2014, 15, who survive this phase of the neoliberal growth, while people are coming, getting some job, doing something of the well, and they have made their lifestyle a bit better than what it is right now. So if we talk about our fathers or our one generation older than us, they have done sufficiently well because of the neoliberal growth phase. They have survived the neoliberal growth phase, somehow have done this. But however, for our generation, it has become a very insecure factor that we need to survive in a time where we are facing a condition where there is no job and people are getting down to the street. Why this need has come into the picture? Why it is not happen because of some random college who has leaked the BA degree paper or the Bachelor of Arts degree paper, or not the BSc degree paper? Why it is for the need? Because previously what we have seen in the last 14-15 years, it has been a generalized notion that everyone will not get a job. We all understood that factor, that it made us believe that everyone will not get a job. If you are coming down from a grade 3 or the tier 3 engineering college, you will not get a job. If you are coming from BSc, BA, BCom or something like that, if you're a general student, you won't get a job. And this is the norm. To get a job, you need to do something exceptional. If we look at for last 15 years, the amount of EdTech or the coaching center for the engineering, medical, law has grown into huge. And it shows that what people were thinking, or the students were thinking, they're insecure. They had to accept the fact that, okay, we won't be getting the job unless we are going for the IIT, IIMs. Right now in the given, and that is the reason why this huge this coaching centers got made their profit. This is billions of dollars of profit, millions of dollars of profit we have been seeing. In last 4 years, we are seeing that even people coming out from the IIT or the IIM are not getting the sufficiently good job. The unemployment rate is still more than 20%, which means 80% of the people who are the creamiest student in the engineering and IITs are getting the job. The number is higher in case of the management schools as well in India. So And even if we look at the bottom 50% of the student in going to these premium institutes are not getting the job that they were supposed to or they were getting back few years back. So in this situation, people were facing severe crisis. However, medical was a different case altogether because the number of doctors that we have in India is very low. So for majority of the people who are Gen Z, who are preparing for some of the other examination, who are preparing for some of the senior for the higher education, for them, medical was a passport for a better future because right now the engineering or the management is does not have that charm. Even the law does not have that level of charm which medical still has. Now this paper leak showed that okay, nothing is secure in spite of your all of your hard work, which neoliberalism says that if you are a hard worker you will earn a huge amount of money. It is not a true. We all knew that it is not a true, but it was not a general consensus. The general fabricated consensus that we have seen for last few years was that you need to work hard, you need to work smart, and all that general norm of the bourgeois economics that we see was fed into our mind. However, these leaks showed that okay, whether you do go hard work, whether whatever you do, it doesn't matter. The system is rigged. And these caused a huge turbulence and the burst of the accumulated anger that previous generations for this Gen Z generation was having for last 10, 12 years. And now this Hindu, Muslim, all the communal things that was in the front seat of the politics is not at all impacting the Gen Z. And the reason is why this is because previous of the generation that was one generation back or the two generation back, people who have done a bit well comes into the middle class or the higher middle class or the upper class was concerned about the national security while sipping a cup of coffee in their room because they have made their life at least a better. The number is very small. I agree, but they who actually turn the political narrative, what you can see in the TV and the media, they're interested of that because they have some sort of financial and the financial backup. However, their son, daughters, and the next generation of them do not have that security. And if we need to understand the CJP movement, we need to understand that new insecure class that are emerging in the whole of the India. And that is just the start. And not only this CJP movement, just to reiterate another thing, I think Comrade Shah already told and Comrade Anjali also mentioned that a few days back in very close to central Delhi, in the Jantar Mantar, is a place called Noida, it comes in the Uttar Pradesh. There was a huge worker struggle happen. Hundreds and lakhs of workers came down to the street, fought for their uh, wages, for their fundamental rights, so they are not paid properly. However, there are few challenges that definitely would be mentioned. So before we go to this thing, we need to understand the class concept of this movement, that this is a movement by a highly insecure class who are facing this insecurity that they will not get a job and they don't know what will happen with their life. The first thing. Second point that we need to understand that what are the feedbacks that we have seen because I was there in the movement for quite a bit of days. What I think that still the huge amount of working class who still make their abode in the lowest strata of the economy has some alienation with the movement, and it is not their fault. It is our collective fault, and it is the collective fault of the left, or the collective failure of the left, that in last 14, 15 years, we could not organize a serious class movement other than this farmers movement, which can shook the government. And this movement can, I mean, as this is been done by the Gen Zs who do not have the union experience, who do not have the experience for doing the present organization, can be alienated from the working class if their immediate demands are met. So it is very important for the left, for the student organization with the hand holding of the trade unions, as well as the peasant organization or all the sorts of class-based organization to bridge the gap that they can have. Like for a student who are 25 years old expecting a job or maybe a fair examination in the medical engineering or expecting a job in IT or any other creamy sector. can feel alienated, and workers also can feel alienated from them because their demands are not same. However, it is the collective responsibility of the left who need to seriously think how we can bridge the gap. Maybe some new form of content that we need to take up, where we need to make this chain, because workers has nothing to lose but our chains. So we need to understand and help them to understand how these chains are made and how the collective interest of working class people from a very low strata to a better strata is same. So this is, I think, very important that we as a left student activist need to do. However, there are some seriously significant good signs that after the movement that Avijit Dibke and Saurav Das and Lanka is going and meeting with the farmers organization, workers organization, to show their solidarity with the movement, because there was a movement in the movement by the AIKS. There is a convention in the AIKS in Delhi recently where these people have gone there and showed their solidarity, extended their hand for the present movement. This is a sufficiently good sign. However, there still are gaps. And secondly, I do think there was, which is supposedly the stronger part of the movement as well as the weakest part of the movement, that it did not have any central leadership that we were expecting. It did not have. So because of that, in different states, whether it's Maharashtra, whether it's Bihar, whether it's West Bengal and in Delhi, there was no centrally coordination among this. Because of that, it was very easy for the state to bring down this brutal attack on the students, which Comrade Anjali correctly said, that the hundreds of people are getting arrested. There were a pellet bullet shot on the face of the students. All these things happened, and it was very easy for the government to do that. And our centrally coordinated movement could have changed the whole situation, I do believe. However, I do not undermine the fact that BJP is in power for last 12 years with a narrative that no one can touch them. However, as I say, that new insecure class who are there, who have proved that they can get down on their knees if there is a stronger movement, because this insecure class wrote the history with the fact. Because if we say it in the terms of the Gen Z, that if we just tweak some of the word of a very famous rapper KRS, that write that down in your black book and journal, the class struggle is eternal. And this class struggle showed how the class movement can bring this fascist regime into their knees. So before I finish, I would like to great revolutionary salute to everyone who are fighting against this fascist regime in India, as well as all the dictatorial regime in overall the South Asia, or in the Asian part as well, or in the global part. We are seeing millions of people getting putting behind the bars, and how they are being incarcerated for no reason almost. However, yesterday we have seen how people in Sri Lanka came down to the street in front of the Indian High Commissioner and showed their dissent, that whatever they are doing in India is not right. And this is the true international solidarity that we need to show, like the way we have showed in the 2022 when there was a huge uprising. We have seen, I have gone to the Sri Lanka, I have been there into the Colombo. The streets are still a spectacle that we all should see, and how Indian students go down into the streets to support them, how the Sri Lankan students are getting down to the streets to support the Indian students. And we all should support all the students who are in the Pakako White Kashmir getting to jail for their fight for their freedom. I will end with the lines of Parshivit Shelley, because at times we all get scared at some time that they have the state machineries. We are no one, but I think this 150 years old poem speaks the best, that how we should think, that raise like a lion after thunder in unvanquishable number, shake the chain on earth like a Jew that had fallen on you. We are many, but they are few. We are many, but they are few. We are millions in number. They are just a small group of people trying to show that they can impose their authority on us. However, this Gen Z movement had showed that the class struggle can bring them into their knees. Right now, it is the collective struggle for the student unions, trade unions, farmer struggle, and all the communist parties coming together into the single point, escaping from their narrow party lines or party limitations or the party interest, coming down to the together, making forms and leading the movement of class struggle and taking the successful baton that the Gen Z has achieved through this movement and take this forward and bring this fascist regime down from the power and take the steering of the power into their hand and to make a more equal society and more better society for our next generation. Thank you, comrades. Thanks. And again, revolutionary great salute to everyone for inviting me and happy to take any questions if there is any. Thanks a lot.
Um, Thank you, Comrade Sanka Shubhra Bishwas, for those valuable experiences and political insights. Now, I would like to invite our final speaker, Comrade Vasanta Mudalige from People's Struggle Movement Sri Lanka, to share the experiences and insights. Before beginning, I would like to inform everyone that consecutive interpretation will be provided for Comrade Vasanta's speech. Comrade Vasanta.
ආදරණීය සහෝදරියනි සහෝදරවරුනි ඔබ සියලු දෙනාගෙන් අවසරයි විශේෂයෙන් මගේ අදහස් දැක්වීම සිංහලෙන් මම සිදු කරනවා එතකොට ඒකේ පරිවර්තනය ජනාර්දන සහෝදරයා සිදු කරයි ජනාර්දන
Greetings to comrade. I will speak in Sinhala. Janathan will provide an English interpretation of my speech.
මෑත කාලයේ දකුණු ආසියාතික කලාපයේ රටවල් කීපයක අරගල සිද්ධ වුණා තමන්ගේ ඉල්ලීම් දිනා ගැනීමට. විශේෂයෙන්ම 2022 අවුරුද්දේ ලංකාවෙත් ඒ වගේම එතනින් පස්සේ බංගලාදේශයේත් නේපාලයේත් ඒ වගේම මෑත කාලීනව ඉන්දියාවෙත් සිදු වුණු අරගල අපි හිතනවා දකුණු ආසියාතික කලාපයේ ජනතා නැගිටීම් වල තීරණාත්මක සම්දිස්ථානයක් සනිටුහන් කරනවා කියලා. එක පැත්තකින් මේ අරගල අතර සමානකම් තියෙද්දිම අපේ අරගලවල මේ එකිනෙකට වෙනස් අසමානකම් ටිකකුත් අපි හඳුනා ගන්නවා. දැන් මීට කලින් අදහස් දැක්වීම් වලදී සහෝදරියන් සහෝදරවරුන් ඉන්දියානු අරගලය ඇතුලේ තිබුණු සුවිශේෂීතා ඒ වගේම ඉන්දියානු අරගලය ඇතුලේ නැගිටීමට අදාළ වුණු තත්වය සහ දිනාගත්තු ජයග්‍රහණ ඒක කොහොමද ඓතිහාසිකව වැදගත් වෙන්නේ කියන කරුණු ඉදිරිපත් කරා. එතකොට ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්ම අපි හිතනවා මේ අරගල වලට මූලික වුණු ඉල්ලීම් මතින් අපේ අරගල සියල්ල සමානයි. දන්නවා දකුණු ආසියාතික කලාපයේ රටවල් වල අධ්‍යාපන ප්‍රශ්නය බලපතර ප්‍රශ්නයක් විදිහට තියෙනවා. අවස්ථා සීමිත වීම අවස්ථා සඳහා ප්‍රවේශ වෙන්න තියෙන ඒ වගේම අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ගත්තට පස්සේ විරැකියාව ඊට පස්සේ විශේෂයෙන්ම සාමි අපි අරගල යටින් සමානයි. ඒ වගේම මේ අරගල වලට සම්බන්ධ වුණු බලවේග අතින් ගත්තට පස්සේ විශේෂයෙන්ම මූලිකත්වයේ ගත්තේ ශිෂ්‍ය ප්‍රජාව. ඒ අතින් අපි සමානයි. ඒ වගේම අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ගත්තට පස්සේ මේ සටන් වලදී ආව මර්ධනය ඒවට මූණ දෙද්දී ඒවට අනිත් සමාජ කණ්ඩායම් සහයෝගය දැක්වීම අතින් අපි සමාන වුණා. ඒ අරගලයේ අතරෙම සමානකම් මැදින් නැවත අසමානතා ටිකකුත් තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඒ වගේදී අපි දන්නවා දැන් අවසාන ජයග්‍රහණය අතින් අපේ අරගලවල අසමානකම් තියෙනවා කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා.
In recent times, the uprisings that have emerged in several countries across the Asian region have become a source of profound inspiration for struggling forces globally and regionally. First in Sri Lanka, then in Bangladesh, Nepal, and most recently in India. We recognize both similarities and differences within these uprisings. Among the primary reasons driving these struggles are common educational issues and the lack of equal opportunities, problems related to unemployment and having to suffer the economic hardship as we face as a society. Consequently, through the slogans we chant, both past and in present, we are alike. In our demands, we are alike. In the forces driving these struggles, we are alike. Yet, amidst these very similarities, the conclusions of these struggles differ. We differ in victories However, each of us have left something behind for the future. We have demonstrated a lesson. Moreover, we have learned a lesson through struggles. That lesson is the realization that in countries like us, people's uprising hold potential. It is the lesson that we can fight and win. At the same time, it is a lesson that every single struggle has its limitations.
ඔව් එතකොට මේ සමාන අසමානකම් මැදම අප සියලු දෙනා අත්පත් කරගෙන තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම එතකොට දැන් අපේ රටවල් වල සටන් කිරීම සම්බන්ධව තිබුණු අදහස ටිකක් දුර්වල මට්ටමක තමයි තිබුණේ. හැබැයි එහෙම තියෙද්දි ලංකාවේ අපි මුහුණ දුන්නු දේශපාලන වටපිටාව ඇතුලේ සටන් කරන්න වෙන තත්වයක් නිර්මාණය වුණා. ඔබට මතක නම් 2022 ලංකාවේ ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂගේ දූර කාලය ඇතුලේ ඔහුට විරුද්ධව සටන් ගොඩ නැගුණා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ශිෂ්‍ය ව්‍යාපාරයේ සටන් කරා අධ්‍යාපන පුද්ගලීකරණයට විරුද්ධව. ගොවියෝ සටන් කරා තමන්ගේ ගොවි අයිතිවාසිකම් පොහොර කප්පාදුව සහ ගොවියන්ගේ අවස්ථා දිනා ගැනීම සම්බන්ධව. ඒ වගේම ගුරුවරු ඇතුළු කම්කරු ව්‍යාපාරයේ සටන් කරා ඔවුන්ගේ අයිතිවාසිකම් දිනා ගැනීම සම්බන්ධව. මේවා දිනා ගනිද්දී මේවා මත කොවිඩ් අර්බුදය නිසා ආව ඒ වගේම ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ එවකට හිටපු ජනාධිපතිවරයාට ආව බලයත් එක්ක ඔහු මර්ධනය දියත් කරා. ඒ සටන් වලට මර්ධනය දියත් කළා. ඒව නතර කරන්න උත්සාහ කරා. නමුත් අවසාන වශයෙන් මේ සටන් කිරීමේ දීර්ඝකාලීන ප්‍රතිඵලය විදිහට ඔහු එළවා දැමීම සඳහාම සටන් කරන්න ඕන කියන සමාජය නිර්මාණය වුණා. සමාජයේ තියෙන තත්ත්වය නිර්මාණය වුණා. අපි හිතනවා ඒක හොඳ තත්ත්වයක්. එතකොට ලංකාවේ අරගලය ඇතුලේ අපි අනාගතයට ඉදිරිපත් කරපු ඉතිරි කරපු පාඩම තමයි නැත්නම් ඉදිරි කරපු දෙය තමයි සටන් කරන්න ඕන කියන විශ්වාසය ඒත්තු ගැන්වීම. එතකොට එතනින් පස්සේ නේපාලයේ ශිෂ්‍යයෝ එවැනිම ලෙස අරගලයට සම්බන්ධ වුණා. බංග්ලාදේශෙත් ශිෂ්‍ය මූලික වුණු අරගලයක් ආවා. ඉන්දියාවෙත් නීට් එක්සෑම් එක මූලික කරගත්තු අරගලය ආවා. මෙන්න මේ විදිහට. එතකොට දැන් මේකේ සම විෂමතා තියෙද්දිම අපි ඉගෙන ගත්ත පාඩම නැත්නම් අපි අනාගතයට ඉදිරිපත් කරන ඉදිරිය තමයි ජනතා පරමාධිපත්‍ය කියන එක මහපාරේ අත්හදා බලන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක. විශේෂයෙන්ම ලංකාවේ ව්‍යවස්ථාව ඇතුලේ නේපාලේ බංගලාදේශ ඉන්දියාවේ මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාමය කරුණු ඇතුලේ තිබුණේ ජනතා පරමාධිපත්‍ය තියෙන ව්‍යවස්ථාව ඇතුලේ. ජනතා පරමාධිපත්‍ය තියෙන්නේ ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ ඇතුලේ කියලා. හැබැයි ඒක එහෙම නෙවෙයි. ඒක ජනතාව ළඟ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒක මහපාරයත් හදා බලන්න පුළුවන් කියන අනාගත ඉදිරිය අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරා. ඒ නිසාම තමයි දැනුත් ලංකාවේ සමහර බලවේග සටන් කරන්නේ. නේපාලේ සමහර බලවේග සටන් කරන්නේ. බංගලාදේශයේ සමහර බලවේග සටන් කරන්නේ. ඉන්දියාවේ ඔබ දැනුත් සටන් කරන්නේ යන්නේ ඒ ජනතා පරමාධිපත්‍ය තියෙන ජනතාවට ඔබට කියන ඉල්ලීමත් එක්ක. ඉතින් ඒක අපි හිතනවා අප සියලු දෙනා කරපු සටන් ඇතුලේ අනාගතය වෙනුවෙන් අප සියලු දෙනා කළ ඉතිරියක් මහජනතාවයකට සම්බන්ධ කර ගැනීම සඳහා මහජනතාවට සටන් කිරීම සඳහා ඒත්තු ගැන්වීම කියලා කියන්නේ ඔබේ ඉන්දියානු අරගලයේ ඉන්දියානු තරුණ ශිෂ්‍ය නැගිටීමෙන් අනිත් දකුණු ආසියාතික රටවල් වල නැගිටීමෙන් අපි අනාගතයට ඉදිරි කරපු ජයග්‍රහණය කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා.
Allow me to share the legacy and the lesson we gained as a student movement and a leftist movement through the Sri Lankan struggle, taking the events of 2022 as our baseline. In 2022, we faced an economic hardship that affected us all. While grappling with the economic pressure, students had been fighting for years to abolish private university acts. Farmers had waged massive struggles against the curtailment of their fertilizer rights. Teachers and other workers were continually protesting for their rights. It was amidst this backdrop that the bankruptcy of the country caused this distress to be felt by every single stratum of society. We lacked fuel, gas, and electricity. Public transport buses ceased to operate, schools and universities were closed, and daily life collapsed. Therefore, our only remaining option was to fight. We chose the path. We managed to rally the entire populace around us. Instead of a single slogan, we succeeded in moving from welfare demand towards targeting overthrow of the government and systemic change. We succeeded in ousting the government. However, the victory we achieved was a limited one. Yet, The lesson we learned is monumental. We were able to substantiate on the streets through popular struggles the people's sovereignty that was previously claimed to be exercisable solely within the confine of the Constitution. We succeeded in giving a new definition to the concept of people's power through the struggles on the streets. This is our achievement. This is the legacy of our struggle. People are still putting this to test today. Among the limitations we faced, we observed the problem of working class being unable to participate organically in the struggle and play a leadership role. We witnessed the shortcoming of being unable to establish a people's administration, a system change that general public desired. We identified the ideological limitations contained within the notion of no political parties or we are non-partisan that prevented us from steering this struggle towards a genuine people's administration.
ඉතින් අපිට ජනතා පරමාධිපති ඒත්තු ගන්න මැදිම අනිත් පැත්තෙන් අපිට සීමාකම් ගොඩක් මේ දකුණු ආසියාතික කලාපයේ අරගල ඇතුලේ අපි දකිනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ පැන නැගුණු හැම අරගලයකම කම්කරු පන්තිය සම්බන්ධ වීමේදී සීමාකම් ගොඩක් තිබුණා ඒ කම්කරු පන්තිය සම්බන්ධ වීමේදී. විශේෂයෙන්ම කම්කරු පන්තියේ භූමිකාව ඊටාම පුංචි මට්ටමක තමයි ඒ අරගල ඇතුලේ තිබුණේ. ඒතර අපි හිතනවා මේ අරගලය ඇත්ත ජනතා පාලනයක් දක්වා අරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ඉවර කරන්න බැරි වුණු ගුණේ මේ කම්කරු පන්තිය සක්‍රියව මේ සටන් වලට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න බැරි වුණු එක ඇතුලේ කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ අරගල ඇතුලේ මහ ජනතාව බලාපොරොත්තු වුණු ඇත්ත ක්‍රම වෙනස සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් අපි දැක්ක ඔබේ අරගලේ. ඒ වගේම නේපාල් බංග්ලාදේශ් ශ්‍රී ලංකා මේ හැම එකකම සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් කියන ස්ලෝගන් එක තිබුණා. හැබැයි අපේ අරගල හැම එකක්ම ඉවර වුණේ සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් කියන ස්ලෝගන් එක දිනනම වෙනුවට తాවකාලික සීමාකම් සහිත ජයග්‍රහණ ටිකක් එක්ක. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒක ගැටලුවක් විදිහට මේ අරගල ඇතුලේ හඳුනාගත්ත ගැටලුවක් විදිහට අපි දකිනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ අරගල ඇතුලේ දෙන්න දේශපාලන පක්ෂේපා දේශපාලන පක්ෂවල මතවාදේපා නිර්පාක්ෂිකයි ස්වාධීනව තමයි මේ අරගල කරන්නේ. අපි හිතනවා අපේ මේ ඉන්දියන් ඊට පස්සේ ගත්තම නේපාල් බංග්ලාදේශ් ලංකා කියන මේ සියලු දකුණු ආසියාතික කලාපයේ සිදු අරගලවල අප විශේෂයෙන් හඳුනාගත යුතු තත්වයක් ලෙස මේ දේශපාලන පක්ෂේ සංවිධානාත්මක පක්ෂේ මුල් බැසගෙන තිබීම අවසාන ජයග්‍රහණ වලට යන්න අපිට තිබුණු බාධාවක් ලෙස අපි හඳුනා ගන්නවා ඒක දකිනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි මේ මතවාදීමේ සීමාකම් බලපෑවා ඉදිරි ජයග්‍රහණ වලට යන්න. ඉතින් අපි හිතනවා මේ ඔක්කොම සීමාකම් ඇතුලේ මේ කරපු දකුණු ආසියාතික අරගල ඇතුලේ ජයග්‍රහණ හම්බෙලා තියෙනවා. ලංකාවේ ආණ්ඩුව එලවා දැමීම සහ ජනතා පරමාධිපත්‍ය මහපාරය ඇතුලේ අත්හදා බැලීම. නේපාලයේ ආණ්ඩුව එලවා දැමීම. ඒ වගේම බංග්ලාදේශයේ ආණ්ඩුව එලවා දැමීම. ඒ වගේම ඉන්දියාවේ ඔබ කෙරුව අරගලයේ විභාග ප්‍රශ්න පත්‍රය එළියට පිටවීමට මූලික වුණු අධ්‍යාපන ඇමතිවරයා ඉල්ලා අස්වි. ඉතින් අපි හිතනවා මේවා යම් මට්ටමක සාපේක්ෂ එහෙම නැත්නම් සීමාකම් සහිත ජයග්‍රහණ. හැබැයි දැන් අපි හිතනවා මේක අපි හරියට කියවා ගත්තී මේකේ නිශ්චිතව අපිට කියවා ගැනීමට තියෙන දේ තමයි ලංකාවේ නේපාලෙත් බංග්ලාදේශෙත් ඒ වගේම ගත්තම ඉන්දියාවෙත් එතනින් එහාට ගියට පාකිස්තානෙත් දැන් මේ මොහොතේ කාශ්මීර වල සිද්ධ වෙන ශිෂ්‍ය තරුණ නැගිටීමේ අයිතිවාසිකම් ඉල්ලා සිටිනින් නැගිටින ශිෂ්‍ය තරුණ නැගිටීමේ මේ සියල්ලගෙම කියවා ගැනීම තමයි සටන් කිරීම සඳහා විභවයක් තියෙනවා. සටන් කරන්න උනන්දුවක් තියෙනවා. හේතු දහසක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ මේ සටන් කිරීම ඇතුලේ අවසාන ජයග්‍රහණ ගනිති. ඒ ජයග්‍රහණ සඳහා අප වාමාංශික මූලධර්ම මත නැත්නම් වාමාංශික පදනම් වල ඉඳලා ක්‍රම වෙනසක් ජනතා පාලනයක් ඉලක්ක කරේ නැති වුණොත් ත්‍රාඩ දේශපාලන කල්ලි තමන්ගේ බලය තහවුරු කරගන්න අපි දන්නවා ඒකට ඉඩ හදා ගන්නවා. නේපාලයේ අවසානයේ අරගලයේ අවසන් වෙලා බාලේන්ද්‍රන් ෂා බලයටපත් වෙලා ඔහු මුලින්ම කරන්නේ ශිෂ්‍ය සහ කම්කරු සංවිධාන තහනම් කරන එක. ඒතර ඔහු බලයට එන්නේ ඒ අරගලයේ තුලින් ආව වෙනස් දේශපාලන කතාව පාවිච්චි කරලා. ලංකාවේ අරගලයේ ඇතුලේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ බලයට ඇවිල්ලා ඔහු අරගලයටත් පහර දෙනවා විතරක් නෙමේ. එයින් පස්සේන ජාතික ජන බලවේගයේ අනුර දිසානායක ප්‍රමුඛ ආණ්ඩුව රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපතිවරයාගේ මේ වැඩපිළිවෙල විශේෂයෙන් ජාත්‍යන්තර මූල්‍ය ආරම්භ කළ IMF ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ගත්තට පස්සේ ඉන්දියන් වැඩපිළිවෙල මෝදිගේ අඛණ්ඩ ಭಾರತ್ වැඩපිළිවෙලට ඕන න්‍යාය පත්‍රය ලංකාව ඇතුළේ සිදු කරමින් ඉන්නවා. බංගලාදේශීය තත්ත්වයට ඊට වඩා වෙනස් නැහැ. ඒ නිසා මෙන්න මේක අරගල කිරීම සඳහා දකුණු ආසියාතික කලාපය ඇතුළේ විභවයක් තියෙනවා. අරගල කිරීම සඳහා ජනතාවක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ වගේ මේ අරගල හරියට නායකත්වයේ දීලා ජනතා ජයග්‍රහණයකට تعلق කරගන්න බැරි වුණොත් ඒ තුලින් බලය ගන්න ත්‍රාඩ දේශපාලන කල්ලි මේ නව ලිබරල් වාදේ නැත්නම් නව ලිබරල් ධනවාදයේ මේ කැපිටලිසම් එක මෙහෙමම පවත්වගෙන යන්න අදාළ වැඩපිළිවෙල සකස් කරනවා කියන කියවා ගැනීමත් අපි ඉන්දියානු අරගලය ඇතුළේ අනිත් දකුණු ආසියාතික කලාපයේ සටන් ඇතුළේ කියව ගන්න ඕන කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා.
In all these struggles, we notice that working class participation was limited, and in the case of Sri Lanka, slogans such as "no political parties" prevented us from moving towards a real system change. Now we have to look at the struggles all around South Asia, including the Kashmir people struggle in the Pakistan-controlled area. Thus, the Sri Lankan struggle in which we participated concluded with a limited victory. Subsequently, both the administration of Ranil Wickremesinghe that followed and the present National People's Power administration of Anil Kumar Dissanayake have become active partners of International Monetary Fund's agenda and Narendra Modi's Indian blueprint. Rather than fulfilling people's demand that emerged from the struggle, looking at the struggles in Bangladesh, Nepal, and India from the standpoint of this experience enables us to recognize both potentials we share and the limitations we face. In India, where economic growth is among the highest in the world, while the uprising against the economic distress faced by the grassroots is delayed, students are rising up, centered around examination and educational issues. This is a positive development. However, the limitations inherent to our own countries are also visible within the student and youth struggles in India. Therefore, we must direct our efforts towards targeting system change through a broad public participation, especially coupled with the intervention of the working class. Otherwise, the advantage of struggles we wage can easily be co-opted by some political factions as a stepping stone to power. This risk for failing to bring about system change we aspire to, instead allowing the existing capitalist system to be maintained under a different guise, pushing forward all plans of privatization and neoliberal capitalism. This has been clearly visible when looking at Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka in recent times.
එනිසා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා මේ නැගිටීම් ඇතුලේ අප ඔබ සියලු දෙනාට ඉදිරියේදී එකතු වෙලා වැඩ කරන්න වෙන තත්වයක් නිර්මාණය වෙමින් තියෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඉන්දියානු අරගලයේ දිහා අපි බලද්දී ඒක අපි කියව ගනිද්දී අපි දකින ධනාත්මක කරුණු තමයි මෝදිගේ අඛණ්ඩ ಭಾರತ್ වැඩපිළිවෙල නැත්තම් මෝදිගේ ආණ්ඩුවට විරුද්ධව විරෝධතා දැක්වීම සහ ඔහුගේ ප්‍රධාන අමාත්‍යවරයෙක් ඉල්ලාස් වෙන තැනට සටන මෙහෙයීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි ඔබට අපි ඔබේ ධෛර්යය නැත්නම් ඔබේ සටන්කාමීත්වය අපි අගය කරනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ කලාපීය රටවල් සියල්ලකම තියෙන පොදු ගැටලු වලට අප පොදු ගැටලු දිහා බලද්දී අපිට පෙනෙන කාරණේ තමයි ධනවාදය අසමත්, ඒ රටවල් වල තියෙන ධනවාදය රකින්න ආණ්ඩුන් අසමත්, ඒ වගේම ඒ ආණ්ඩු වලට ඉස්සරහට අපි ඉල්ලා සිටින ප්‍රශ්න වලට උත්තර දෙන්න බෑ. ඒ නිසා විරැකියාව වෙන්න පුළුවන්, අධ්‍යාපන ප්‍රශ්න වලින් ආර්ථික පීඩනය, පරිසර ගැටලුව, අධිරාජ්‍යවාදී මැදිහත් වීම වලට එරෙහිව යුදමය ගැටලුව කියන මෙන්න මේ කරුණු මූලික කරගෙන ඒකට විරුද්ධ ක්‍රම වෙනසක් ඉලක්ක කරපු පුළුල් දේශපාලන සන්ධානයක් ඕන කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ නිසා ඒ දේශපාලන සන්ධානය ගොඩනගද්දී විශේෂයෙන්ම ඉන්දියානු ශිෂ්‍ය ව්‍යාපාරයේ තරුණ ව්‍යාපාරය, නේපාලයේ ශිෂ්‍ය ව්‍යාපාරය, ඒ වගේම බංගලාදේශ ශිෂ්‍ය ව්‍යාපාරය, පාකිස්තානයේ ශිෂ්‍ය ව්‍යාපාරය, ලංකාවේ ශිෂ්‍ය ව්‍යාපාරය ආදී සටන් බලවේග මූලික වෙලා මැදිහත් වුණු දේශපාලන සන්ධානයක්, ශිෂ්‍ය තරුණ සන්ධානයක් ගොඩනගන්න ඕන කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ සඳහා වූ විභවය මේ මොහොතේ නිර්මාණය වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ විභවය පාවිච්චි කරලා ඒ දේශපාලන මොහොත, ඒ දේශපාලන සන්ධානය ගොඩ නැගුවොත් අපිට පුළුවන් වෙයි කලාපීය වශයෙන්, දකුණු ආසියාතික කලාපීය වශයෙන් මේ ධනවාදයට විරුද්ධ, නව ලිබරල් ධනවාදයට විරුද්ධව පුළුල් පෙරමුණකින් දැවැන්ත සටන් මධ්‍යස්ථානයක් ගොඩනැගීමට අපිට පුළුවන් වෙයි. ඒ ගොඩනගන සටන් මධ්‍යස්ථානය ලංකාවේ, නේපාලේ, බංග්ලාදේශේ, පාකිස්තානයේ, ඉන්දියාව කියන මෙන්න මේ රටවල් වල ශිෂ්‍යයන්ගෙන් එහාට ගිය කම්කරු පන්තියත් සම්බන්ධ කරගත්තු, ගොවියෝ ඇතුළු, දීවරයෝ ඇතුළු අනෙක් සටන් කරන සියලු බලවේග සම්බන්ධ කරගත්තු පුළුල් කලාපීය ජනතා ජයග්‍රහණ වෙත ගෙන යන්න අදාළ මැදිහත් වීම, අදාළ ජයග්‍රහණ වලට ගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් වටපිටාව නිර්මාණය කරමු. ඒ සඳහා මේ ඉන්දියානු අරගලයත් ඒ වගේම ඒ ආසන්න වශයෙන් ආසියාතික කලාපය ඇතුළේ වුණු අරගලත් කියවගමු කියන යෝජනාව අපි මෙතන ඉන්න අපි වහන සමාජ මාධ්‍ය වලින් අපි බලන සියලු දෙනාට අපි යෝජනා කරා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඉන්දියානු ශිෂ්‍ය සංවිධාන නියෝජනය කරන ඔබට අපගේ ආරාධනාව තියෙන, අපි මේක ඉදිරි පියවර කලාපීය ශිෂ්‍ය තරුණ සන්ධානයක් ගොඩනගමින් මුළු කලාපයේම වුණ දෙන ප්‍රශ්න වලට විරුද්ධව සටන් කරන්න, ඒ වගේම ක්‍රම වෙනසක් ඉලක්ක කරන පුළුල් ශිෂ්‍ය තරුණ සන්ධානය ගොඩනගමු කියන ඉල්ලීම ඔබ සියලු දෙනාට කරනවා. බොහොමත්ම ස්තුතියි.
Therefore, we believe that an excellent opportunity has now opened up to build a regional alliance with a long-term goal of systematic change, because the commonalities arising from the shared regional issues such as educational problems, unemployment, economic hardship, and privatizations are the more than sufficient to unite us. Governments are currently doing a great deal to cover up the economic crisis and conceal the fact that the system is failing to resolve our problem. Unemployment, access to education, imperialism, those problems are still there. They will not be able to keep doing this for much longer. We should establish a center in South Asia against neoliberalism and imperialism with the youth, students, workers, farmers, and the whole working class. We must prepare right now. Youth and the students' organization need a clear regional alliance. To that end, we propose to all of you, let us learn the lessons and draw upon the experiences of recent struggles in India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Vasantha Mudellige, for your important contributions and valuable insights. And thank you, Comrade Jonathan, for your interpretation. So thank you all. Thank you, comrades, to all our speakers and participants for contributing to this important discussion. Let us carry these experiences forward by strengthening our solidarity, deepen our political understanding, building movements from the ground level, and working towards an alternative ideology and path for social transformation. We hope to meet again soon with another important topic and continue this discussion, sharing experiences and building collective understanding. Thank you everyone for joining.